All right, let's talk about the Murdaugh trial. The state has finally rested their case against Alex Murdaugh in the shooting death of his wife and son. One of the state's final witnesses was a data expert. And what they did was present evidence that while Alex was driving from the crime scene to his mother's place, he was racing at about 75 miles an hour. He just happened to have slowed down to about 40 at a key location. Why key? Because that's where prosecutors say they found his wife's cell phone, which they suggest he threw out of his moving car. Other data evidence presented today appears to contradict Alex's own statements and alibi. How convincingly? Well, it's strong enough that the defense has decided to put on their own case. Remember, the defense has no obligation to put on a case. The onus is on the prosecution to make the case. Will Murdaugh testify? Let's bring in attorney for Murdaugh's former housekeeper, who you remember died in Murdaugh's house, Eric Bland, and host of the Reasonable Doubt podcast and high-profile trial attorney, Mark Geragos. Let me flip the script tonight and start with you, Mark Geragos, on the defense side. How strong is the evidence that he had the phone, he threw the phone away, his timing doesn't make sense, his alibi doesn't make sense? How much of a concern?
I don't think it's as much of a concern as it's being played out here, and I'll tell you why. I remember early on people were saying there's not going to be any evidence of opioid use. Well, that's not only did the victim's sister testify to that, but they had texts about that. And today we found out under cross-examination by Mr. Harpootlian that it was in his system. It was in Murdaugh's system. I think that his statements, it's been proven, I think that his statements were wrong. And so I think the defense knew that all along. I mean, I can't imagine, basically the defense knows what the universe of discovery is. What they didn't know was the GM data, when you were just summarizing. That is something they're going to have to deal with. But I think that they're going to come loaded for bear when it comes to the telephone stuff. And I think people will be surprised at what happens once they put on their expert or experts on the telephones. I think what now seems to be something that's nice and tidy, I think will come undone.
But you agree, obviously, that they need to put on a case. So, Eric Bland, do you believe today there was the exclamation point that the prosecution needed?
Yes, I do. I think it was, if I would call it today, the damning data. I think it goes way beyond what Mark is saying. There isn't a piece of evidence that could come in this trial that Mark's ever going to say is a good piece of evidence that could lead to guilt. The fact of the matter is, before today, the best piece of evidence was the Snapchat video that placed him in the kennels 6 minutes before the murders. Today, I felt like I was riding along in the car with the GM onboard data. And what we found out is when he came home, it was 17 seconds before he called 911, which would be virtually impossible when you see your wife and your son brutally murdered. You would have to go over, you would have to look. According to him, he checked the pulse on Paul. Paul's phone was not in his pocket at that time when the first responders came. His timeline is gone. I think it shows exactly what happened, that he came home and he called 911 because he knew they were dead already. Chris, I'm telling you, if my wife and kid were dead, lying dead in a kennel and next to the feed room, I would be clutching them with iron arms, and it would take jaws of life and somebody stronger than you, even though you're strong, to pry me loose before I would ever call 911. It's ridiculous.
I hear you. I hear you on the behavior, but let's end on this. Let's end on this, Mark, and let me demonstrate the point.
66% of the people, Chris, 66 on law and crime say he's guilty. 66%.
But it only, look, but remember, you only need one to hang that jury. Just remember this.
If you only get 66% of the jury, that's called
I know, you got trouble. Hey, thank you for watching. Please go to newsnationnow.com, newsnationnow.com, and you can find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button down below. Then you will get more of NewsNation's fact-driven coverage.